Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast with me, Gabe,
Hello.
and Darren, the Classic Plastics. You're talking football, as we always do, also known as soccer, which I don't really like to say, and it's all gone quiet over there. And it's all gone quiet over there. And it's all gone Arsenal. What is going on, Mikel Arteta? What is going on? Because 2 draws in 1 week, drawing against a team with only 10 points, if I'm correct. I can double check that, but I believe it's 10 points. I usually get stuff right. It is 10 points. Only 10 points throughout the entire season. You're going to draw against them. And they should have already drawn against them early on. Wolves got low-key screwed over in the first game at home. So, yeah, we got a title race, ladies and gentlemen. And if Arsenal bottled this Premier League, I will be
Quite
there.
possibly the biggest laughingstock in recent Premier League history.
Oh,
Again.
you can bet I will be there, and I will be having the time of my life. If I'm already not having the time of my life, I will be having the time of my life because Arsenal, they're just, I really just appreciate them, man. Like, I want to take a moment to thank Arsenal. And just, even if they still win the Premier League, they just give us so much moments of happiness. You know what I mean? So much happiness. They really could have just won that game, but no. They gave me joy watching that hate watch. Gave me joy. And a lot of recent hate watches have been so successful. I really want to say thank you to Arsenal. But we got a good few things to talk about. We got the Champions League, the playoffs, first games. We got, I mean, there wasn't any Premier League, but there was FA Cup. We could kind of talk about that for a second. And we could talk about different things that went on. I mean, there was obviously the huge thing in the Real Madrid game. Yeah, I mean, no Premier League except for the Arsenal games, which is a bit of a shame. But still, good amount to talk about. Where do we start, ladies and gentlemen? Do we start with, since we're already talking about Arsenal, your guys' thoughts on that recent game against Wolves? We could also tie into it the Brentford game. I don't know if you guys watched either of them, but I did see both.
I did not watch the games live. I went back and watched the highlights only when I realized that Arsenal had actually not managed to beat Wolves and Brentford, which is just hilarious, objectively speaking. The fact that the title contending Arsenal is out here drawing points to teams that they should never they should have never even had a chance against. Like, Arsenal should have blown them out and proceeded to have one of the arguably biggest choking kind of moments this season so far. And objectively speaking, it's pretty funny that a stoppage time goal for Wolves managed to secure a draw against league leading Arsenal.
Yeah, going off his point, Arsenal tied against Brentford. Arguably, they shouldn't have even tied because Igor Thiago had 2 chances at the end of the game to end that game. He took a little too long to shoot for the first one, got blocked. Second one, he had a half volley and skied it from a couple yards out. But Arsenal also could have gone on
the
to
header. The header was really, really good chance. I mean,
he had a lot. And then even off that, Arsenal still had a chance to win that game because they went on a counter right after, and then they couldn't get the shot off. So it's just back and forth. And then going off the Wolves game, Arsenal apparently have the best players in the world at each position, yet the best center back in the world, Gabriel, absolutely trucks the goalie. The best goalie in the world, Raya, who drops the ball. And as a result, they score. So,
nah, that's not Gabriel's fault. I mean, as a defender, if you've played the sport, you always know you get that ball. You don't let anyone stop you from getting the ball. You get that ball yourself. And I mean, it was bad luck on that part. I'm not going to complain one bit about it. But yeah, just talking about the 2 games. I mean, Arsenal against Brentford. Brentford is a difficult place to go. I believe Liverpool couldn't get a win there. Yeah, they didn't. I remember watching that game. Teams, I think the only team I can really think of that went to Brentford and won is City. But that was a difficult game. I remember Haaland scoring a very good goal where he used his physicality. I think we won 1-0. Either way, Brentford has always been a difficult place to go to, but this season, especially under Keith Andrews, wow. And they scored the goal. What was it off? It was another one of those long throws. Congratulations to Michael Coyote. If funny enough, I saw a video recently of him doing a long throw and the ball hit the back of the net and it was a baby reveal. So congratulations to him. That was kind of funny. But yeah, his long throws are absolutely incredible. And he's also just a very good footballer too. So shout out to him. One of the underrated players of the season, but Brentford in general. People had them as a relegation favorite just because they're losing their manager. They lost their 2 top goal scorers, Johan Wissa and Brian Mbumo. Yeah, what's going to happen to these guys? They also lost their goalkeeper, Flecken, and they lost one of their main midfielders, being Norgard. So that's a huge spine of the team. You go in, you replace the goalkeeper with Queeman Kelleher. I love the guy. He's great. Then you also get not anyone new, but you bring in the player who's supposed to replace Ivan Toney, being Igor Thiago, and he's been on fire. Even though he could have done better in that recent game, he's scoring goals. And the main problem a lot of these sides have that face relegation is they can't score goals. That's a majority. If you look through the stats throughout the past decade or more, most of the time the team that gets relegated, they lack a main goal scorer. They lack enough goals in the team. And Brentford, they got goals. They're solid defensively. Keith Andrews has them set up really well. And fair play to them because they're having themselves an incredible season. Could have even won against Arsenal. So fair play. Back to Arsenal, though. I mean, they didn't play good in either game. They really didn't. The first game against Brentford, I thought they'd be able to see it out. But then as soon as they scored that first goal, everything started to switch. Brentford, they got a lot of momentum. I mean, that first goal went in. It got flicked on, then headed in. And then Brentford, it was all Brentford because the intensity they played at, they weren't sitting back. They were being physical. They were pressing Arsenal man to man. I mean, Arsenal did got opportunities, that one from Martinelli, because when they stepped man to man, Gyökeres was able to flick on a ball. That's what happens. I mean, Leeds under Bielsa played a lot like that, high intensity pressing where you play each man stuck onto another and you win that. As soon as they get the ball, you go right on them. You tackle them. You get right physical, strong, not giving them any space. But the worry with that is you get too close, someone flicks it around the corner, someone beats one man off the dribble, and you have so much space to run into. And that's how Arsenal almost scored the winner. I remember Bielsa, they would get pretty much, I could say, cooked a lot of the time because of that. But they also did really well for some of the periods. But you could get found out that way. Not saying that's how Brentford played, but that's how they did. And Arsenal weren't able to handle it. Fair enough. Fair enough, Brentford. But Arsenal, then against Wolves. Wolves, a poor side. Shout out Matheus Mane. I mean, I don't know if many people watching actually watched the game, but he was really good, man. He's a young player. I've been very impressed whenever I've watched him, in fairness. And then Tomidozi comes off the bench. I wouldn't lie. The only time I've ever heard the name is Sam Edozie. He was a Man City Academy player, plays at Southampton. Never heard of Tomidozi. Turns out to be his brother. Comes off the bench, 19, his debut for Wolves. And it went down as a Calafiori on goal, right? But I don't care. What a moment, because that really is his goal. The ball gets dropped. He volleys it, hits off Calafiori, goes in. I mean, we really going to take the goal away from the kid? I'm going to call him a kid. He's younger than me. Anyone younger than me is a kid. Same as you. But yeah, you're taking the moment away from him. But either way, it's a great moment. All the fans, they're always going to give the credit to him. Everyone was showing him so much affection and love. I mean, just imagine your first ever game in the Premier League coming on against a team like Arsenal and scoring a last-minute goal. Incredible stuff. But Arsenal, once again, they're showing that they're not able to handle the pressure. This would be, if they don't win the league, this would be the 4th year in a row where they finish second. Second again, ole, ole, second again. Yeah. What even happens to Arsenal if they don't win the league this year?
The same regurgitated texts that would happen the last year, where they proceeded to find excuses for whatever happened, whether it was their game, whether it was injuries, whether it was just the other teams playing better. They'll find some way to excuse it one way or another. And when inevitably it would be City this year, if that were to happen, they would just continue to discredit City, saying, you guys only won it because Arsenal choked. But it's the same stuff that we've seen regurgitated for the past few years.
Yeah, I more so meant what happens with Arsenal as a team, not on social media, though.
Well, true, but even
where
still,
does Arsenal go from there? Because
they still have a really good young roster
do,
that they can still build
obviously,
off of for
yes.
future years. So they're not in like a must-win scenario, but at the same time, you're
I think they are.
starting to get into
I
that
genuinely do
upper
think they are.
edge. You're trying to get to that upper edge of like, this is pushing it a little bit too far. We have such a good roster, and yet we've seen no actual legitimate success with it. Where even with that Liverpool team, with teams like Firmino, Sadio Mane, players like that, for how good those Liverpool rosters were, they only won one Premier League just due to how oppressive City's regime was at that
Yeah.
time period. You could see Arsenal become that same kind of close rival to City, but still not have anything of extreme success in that kind of time period.
I
just
don't
due to
fully
where they're
agree with you
wedged.
though, because I think Liverpool, the difference was Liverpool, they were so close to winning the league. And the season after, they backed it up by winning the league very comfortably.
Well, true, but even in
Very
other,
much so. No, but just to cut you off there, the thing is with this season, Arsenal have came close many times. Everyone was so confident and should still be pretty confident that they will win the league because they are the best side in the league. Don't get me wrong. I've watched Manchester City throughout the entire season and last season too. They've improved definitely, but they're not close to that level, and it'll take a little bit of time.
just in terms of the overall competition, though, who would you argue that's their closest rival right now that doesn't fall into that kind of Liverpool role for Man City? Because even though they're not on the same competitive level, they're still the best thing that they have to like an actual rival to kind of look forward to at the
You're
moment.
saying Arsenal?
For this for this kind of year specifically, nobody has really even come close to kind of keeping a competitive race going. And having
Wait,
that
which
kind of
team are you talking about now? Are you talking about Man City or Arsenal?
both. Man City has a competitive edge in this kind of scenario just because they've been in this scenario
yeah.
before, and Arsenal have been in this scenario where they've tried to maintain the lead and just are unable to do so.
Yeah.
So because of that, City has the experience needed to kind of continue to keep on pushing forwards. Whereas Arsenal, now that they're starting to falter, that could cause serious issues for how they're going to continue to play the rest of the season.
Okay. No, I thought you were talking about something else. You were going back to that. Okay. I thought we were talking about the future. No, I was more so saying that mentally, if Arsenal don't win the league this year, I don't know what happens to them, because I don't think Arteta will go or anything, but just they generally do have to win the league this year. You can't miss this point, because I could see it being a turning point where players such as Saliba and stuff are thinking, mentally, maybe I have to leave Arsenal. Maybe it's not going to work out here. And it's draining, The mental side of sports is huge. And when you get so close so many times to success and you fall short and you get so much pressure from your own fans now because they're expecting it. They're really expecting it. That mental switch to go again the next year and the next year and the next year, especially depending on what happens this year, that mental switch should go on and be able to push again. It's not easy. So who knows what will happen? I do think they have to win it this year. I think everything's fallen in place for them to win it. And I still do think they are the favorites. I mean, they're top of the league. That's all you can really say. But we can also talk about who they're going to be playing this weekend, being a certain man named Igor Tudor. I know you're a very big Igor Tudor fan.
Yep.
They're going to be playing Tottenham. I'm assuming a lot of you don't even know who Igor Tudor is, because he was Juventus manager for only a brief stint last year.
And it went terribly, terribly wrong.
No.
It didn't go terribly
No,
wrong, but
I-
it didn't go well.
For
It went-
Juve
no,
standards.
It very
went-
much went.
It went much better than it did under Mata. So we can't say it went
Yeah.
terribly wrong, because it was going very bad and it improved under him. So we definitely can't
The thing
say
is,
that.
at the same time, you can't really compare. I'd say arguably that Tudor has a better squad with Spurs than Juventus. Juventus is currently
Yeah, I
like-
probably would.
like Juventus. They have like their players that are obviously better than their Spurs players. Like you have Yildiz, you have Locatelli, but the rest, I just don't think they're up to par. So,
I mean, the back line,
you
I'd
get-
probably take maybe Cambiaso, but even so, he's not being good this season.
Yeah.
And then midfield wise,
Weston McKennie, even though he's playing as a striker for Juventus now, but he still stacks up better than some of Spurs.
he always finds a
midfielders.
way to get America into
I
this.
mean, he's played well.
He has. He has.
When you got the big Lloyd Kelly starting for you in Champions League nights, you know something's wrong.
He's been good. He's been good. But we'll pivot back. We'll pick it up. We'll pivot. That's the right word. Double pivot. We'll pivot off to the Champions League because we're talking about Juventus now. Yeah, Juventus play Galatasaray. I mean, not too big of a market for, I mean, who really watches Galatasaray in the United States? Not many, but they are a huge club over in Europe. They got very passionate fans, and they put in an incredible performance against Juve. They won 5-2, right? Yeah, 5-2. There was a red card for Cabral, a second yellow turning out to be a red. And yeah, Juve, I don't know what's going on. They got torn apart. It was a good game, very entertaining. Once the red card happened, you're kind of like, maybe Galatasaray pushed for a bunch of goals and increased